The old Angel Reese just got away with a good old shove to the face of Kikiri fan.
Marina Marbury shoves Caitlin Clark to the ground after she's slashed in the eye by one player, rushed by another. Like, I can clearly see why some of y'all teams in the WNBA are just not successful, bro. Like, y'all don't know how to act. We just gonna call it for what it is.
Welcome to the WNBA, where consistency takes a back seat and the rulebook feels more like a vague suggestion than an actual guide. Angel Reese gets into a scuffle crickets, Marina Mabrey shoves someone still, no whistles. But Sophie Cunningham, so much as exhales in the wrong direction, and suddenly it's DEFCON 1, cue the ejection. Are we watching basketball or a live improv show titled Asterisk? Guess that foul. Asterisk, 1 minute it's street ball, the next it's courtroom drama with a whistle chorus. Buckle up, because this week on Ref Roulette, chaos is queen, logic is on vacation. And the only guarantee is that things are about to get even more bizarre.
Minute left and all hell broke loose between JC Sheldon and Sophie Cunningham, and it is very clear the Indiana Fever, some of these girls on this team are finally fed up. Once again, WNBA, we're not talking about your basketball. We're talking about the WNBA WWE Raw circus that you got going on right now. And we all know this incident with Sophie stems from the incident that was clearly not handled correctly by the WNBA.
And then came the slap. No, not the Oscars Redux. This was straight up courtside carnage, featuring Angel Reese in what could only be described as a surprise WWE tryout. One clean open-hand face tap in the middle of May, broadcast live with fans in the stands audibly gasping and popcorn erupting like confetti. Surely the refs would react. Maybe a technical, a warning, at least a confused glance? Nope, absolute silence. Crickets. A lone tumbleweed rolled by as the officials stared into the void, eventually blowing the whistle. Not for the slap, but for a completely unrelated shoelace infraction on the other end. Because of course.
And we are going through this with Angel Reese again. Another instance where Angel Reese shows a complete lack of self-control. Another instance where Angel Reese loses her temper. What is this? The second time this week this has happened? At least in the first instance, Angel Reese was somewhat justified in her reaction. Some anonymous player was pulling on her hair, which can be a very scary situation for some players in the WNBA.
The audience sat frozen, eyes wide, waiting for something, a technical, flagrant, maybe even a league statement carved into stone. But nope, apparently, if you serve it with enough swagger and follow it up with a fire selfie, it's not a foul, it's passion. Fast forward to another game in a completely different dimension of officiating, and there's Sophie Cunningham, barely settling into a defensive stance before she's being ushered off the court. Like she lit a match under the commissioner's chair. What was her crime? Breathing too confidently? Defending with too much ambition? Maybe her ponytail caught a bad vibe? Whatever it was, the ref saw a menace in mascara and the whistle was swift.
At the end of the game, JC Sheldon is going for a fast break layup and Sophie Cunningham is running with her. And I remember in my head, like, it happened in a split second, and I said, oh, let's see. Let's see what happens here. Sophie commits a hard foul on JC Sheldon. Again, as JC Sheldon is going up for a layup, Sophie bear hugs her and takes her to the ground. What I will say is Sophie did not grab her and throw her to the ground. She didn't body slam her. She didn't do anything, in my personal opinion. Maybe.
Either way, she was ejected faster than a toddler at a no-kids wedding. Make it make sense, because right now, WNBA officiating feels like it's being run by a magic 8-ball that overdosed on espresso. Should we call that slap? Asterisk signs point. To know? Asterisk, should we eject Sophie for blinking with too much energy? Absolutely yes. The discrepancy isn't just noticeably, it's a disco ball at high noon, blinding Angel while the league shrugs. Reese delivers a literal slap that echoes through the arena like daytime drama. And somehow the consensus becomes just fierce competitiveness. Meanwhile, Sophie exists with slightly too much intensity, and it's treated like a national emergency.
Felt like Sophie might have wanted a piece of JC after the Caitlin Clark and JC kind of scuffle going on, right? Then this, okay? The fast break, you see Sheldon taking after getting a steal. Sophie wraps her arms around him. Now, this is normal, okay? In my opinion, this is normal. This is a hard foul. She just didn't want her to get a shot up on the fast break, send it to the line. She just grabbed it.
Sophie. Oh, she dared to hustle too hard, and for that she's practically catapulted into orbit. Watching this unfold is like playing chess, where one side's knight gets detained for jaywalking, while the other side's queen is casually dual-wielding nunchucks. And let's not act like this was some blink-and-do-miss-it moment, nope. The cameras had it covered from every possible angle. The slow-mo replay looked like a what not to do PSA, complete with gasps from the crowd and stunned silence from the broadcast booth. Social media detonated, analysts short-circuited, commentators suddenly got a case of selective objectivity, stumbling over themselves to justify a slap that echoed like it came with a director's cut. Still, no tech, no foul, no accountability. Just a metaphorical high five from the inconsistency committee. Meanwhile, Sophie Cunningham plays with the fire of a woman on a mission, defending like rent is due at halftime, and gets treated like she waltzed in wielding brass knuckles. At this point, it feels like defending Caitlin Clark flips some hidden intensity overload switch. Heaven forbid someone actually compete against the league's golden rookie with more than polite applause and a gift basket. It's not just inconsistent, it's full-blown sports theater, and the script is starting to show.